Can you come back with the question again so that let's hear it and I'll frame it properly to respond.
Can a country or a nation survive without agriculture?
Okay, the short answer is no. Okay, let me give you the long answer, but try to make you understand the long answer. So we know what happened in 1492, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was called Columbus Sailed the Ocean Blue. You know, they said he discovered, we know all the political, we know all the rubbish about discovery and so on. We're not ready to unpack all of that quite yet, but we're looking at this concept of geography. Okay, and keep it in mind with this concept of geography is trade. So what would we trade? Coming back to agriculture, what would we trade? Back in the 50s, 40s, 30s, it would have been cocoa. You understand? Yes. So we're exporting. Okay, so we need agriculture. You understand? We need agriculture. However, I don't believe that we need agriculture on the level where we should be able to eat enough, but we may not be able to feed ourselves fully. Okay, we may need to import, let's say, rice. Or maybe not even rice, because you could grow rice in Trinidad, you could get rice from Guyana or so on. But you're not gonna import, what do you call it? We don't grow apples. You understand? But mangoes, Mama Coco, when are you in Tobago? In July, August, June, and I see mango dropping from Idris Jack mango tree. You understand? And wasting because me alone can't eat them. You understand? And all over Tobago, mango dropping. These are the things the Mexicans and the Ecuadorians and the Canadians and the Californians are monetizing. I know you know the big farms out there in California.
Yeah.
You understand? So we need an agricultural base. So let's jump back to 1492. Columbus is sailing the world looking for trade. Okay? And in history, we call that the Great Exchange or the Columbian Exchange. So the concept of trade is wrapped into there. And this is the whole idea of movement. So think ships coming, movement. Think produce moving, movement. Think people moving in from Europe to America, okay, from Africa to America, but not given the classification as people, not now given, they're given the classification as property, if you understand what I'm saying, so that they have no citizenship right. So now you could own them for the benefit of somebody else. So now they could trade and trade in human flesh for their economic gain, legally justified and claiming that they have morality. You see how the thing chain up?
It's real chain up.
They're
trading us to produce. They're trading us for the cocoa sale. For
exactly.
The trade.
Yeah. Exactly. And we'll see how the chain up is taking place now. Okay, so in terms of the social dimension of citizenship, we're talking about our culture. Okay, and local culture. Okay, respective to each locale, beginning in your house. You understand? I think one of the persons who taught me the most about governance, more than any other political science professor I've ever had, was my grandfather. And he never one day set foot in a secondary school.
Hey.
Because he said that the family is the first form of governance. You understand? And that's how we run it. That's how our culture is. You understand? And every family has politics in it. That's where we learn politics. You understand? Every family has debates in it.
We trade.
You understand?
We do bartering.
Of course, we do. You understand? So family is the first foundation of politicking. You understand?
Yes.
With your siblings, you engage in politics.
Even pitching the marbles.
Exactly, pitching marbles is politics. That's where we learn it. It's all socialization. You understand? Political. And you see in the social aspect, we just have to add on socialization. And
Yeah, civics.
socialization is influenced by the culture, the way of life. Okay?
Something I want to bring in so that young men right now will know what they would take for granted and laughing now. It was such a competition where you will take that juicy bottle cork and you will pong it as flat and make sure it gets sharp at the edge. And then you pierce the two holes and you put your string and you tighten, you start to pull to make that, what they used to call that again?
I can't remember what they call it. I think I played with that a little bit, but I can't tell you what they call it exactly, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
But in a
maybe
household
somebody in the live would put it in.
Yes, in a household with all these brothers of mine and neighbors, it used to be a competition. Like you take a piece of wood and you shape the wood into a top.
Your top or a kite or anything. And here's the thing too. And the thing is, one of the things with learning, where we learn, especially as children, we learn in play. You understand? Play is the foundation of learning.
Okay? And it's very political. It is very political.
Yes, play is very political. Play is very, 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 very political. And when I'm teaching, and I've made a deliberate decision to really go back to teaching, not still working with adults, but really working with children, and especially from that level of looking at how they learn and play. Okay, looking at how, because you learn so much in play. And if you go back to educational foundationalists, Piaget talks about the importance of play. You know, and in its cultural form. You know, and we get socialized in every way. So the family socializes us. Okay? You grew up in an Adventist house, you get socialized not to eat pork. Okay? You grew up in a Jehovah's Witness house, you get socialized around things regarding healthcare. You grew up in a Hindu household, you get socialized around everything. But at the same token, we go to school and we get socialized on that level, which should allow us to fulfill our roles and obligations as citizens. Okay? And if you want to remember the political, the economic, the geography, and social, just pegs. And a lot of time, pegs. And sometimes I mean, it's not connected to the whole putting square pegs in wrong holes, but we could probably construct that understanding of how we should be able to understand citizenship from this dimension of pegs, P-E-G-S. And this is how I would teach to my 7th graders. This is how I taught to my 7th graders. One of whom I'm very proud of, that's working for a congresswoman right now. And I remember in 7th grade, I used to get them to debating like Congress. You have to get up and give a 1-minute speech, you know, at the start of every Congress. I watch C-SPAN. You understand? Yes. To know what our legislators are saying. And you have to get up and give a 1-minute speech. You know, that's how the house starts every day. And you see, one of the things too, coming to our legislators in Trinidad and Tobago, they don't meet enough. You see, this first Fridays or once a month thing, we need our legislators sitting, making law. And coming back to the whole idea of constitutional reform as well, we need our executive to be separate from our legislative. And that is why we have been going down the direction of so much corruption. Because we have a legislature and we have a cabinet that is out of control. You understand? Because there's no system of good checks and balances. You understand? Checks and balances is very important. But I think we got the pegs and I think we can probably move on.
Wow.
Any final questions there before we move on?
Yeah, well, we have questions. We have people putting up some nice statements here to you, but I don't know if the moderator wants us to spend 10 minutes to see if we can go through, or 5 minutes to
Okay,
go
yeah, let's
through.
go through our slides. Yeah, let's go through our slides. So now we're all at home. We're all respective citizens of our native lands where we were born or where we live, where we've earned citizenship through some legal right. And there's this concept of global citizenship. And right now, I want to, and where I learned this concept of global citizenship, I have below there my essence experience. And this is where I start to learn to teach. And when I remember I was so dumb. And when I say dumb, when I just started teaching, I was 21 years old. And I left college, left UB, and showed up in school in East New York to teach. And I did show up in East New York with some preconceived ideas in my head. And I went to this lovely school called the Essence School. And there I learned to teach. And I learned to teach from some great African American women. And they grew up and were socialized around the experience of Malcolm X and so on. They were very, very involved in that aspect there. And it was a very Afrocentric experience for me. I spent 3 years at that school. I don't regret I leave, but sometimes I left. But it was a really good place where I learned the foundations of teaching,
Starting out. Yeah.
yeah. And then where in terms of the teachers I respected, coming back from like Mrs. Solomon, Mrs. Solomon was a great, she taught me for 1 month. She was my social studies teacher. And it was like, I want to do what she's doing, be a social studies teacher. And that's what I do. I think I do that really well. And at the Essence School, there was this really taught me how to teach, made mistakes, talked to me about not using sarcasm because kids couldn't understand sarcasm that age. They took everything seriously. And it was a humbling experience for me. And I see those children, they're my friends now on Facebook, as citizens, and I'm so proud. Yeah, I'm so proud of them. Some appearance in their own right now, but it was at this place, and that the theme of that school was preparing students for global citizenship.
Wow.
And this was in 2003 to 2007, where I worked at that school. So this is where I learned this concept of global citizenship and humanity and human rights. And they had me teaching courses on slavery, developing my own curriculum there. So from the get-go, I was doing instructional design. So I taught on slavery, taught a lot on oppression, taught a lot on injustice. So teaching about South Africa, teaching about India, just the general overall in terms of world history. And I teach world history, but I also teach American history as well. But in terms, I'm a very generalist. I need to know a little bit more Caribbean history. I dug a little bit into the history of Trinidad and Tobago, cultural and social history, and so on. But the core of my teaching experience was this concept of global citizenship. And I think that's the dimension that we're on today.
Because one thing we have to go back into is to kind of educate the people of Trinidad and Tobago to see if we can make some headway with this amount of racialism. Is that the indentured laborship was a used program also by the British. The Indians suffered under their actions and their indentureship anyway.
Here's the thing. We need to stop measuring pain.
Yes. We have to.
We need to stop measuring pain. Pain is pain.
And pain is according to who feel it. What will hurt you, I would smile over it.
You understand? But sometimes we need to understand our history, and we need to understand our current our legacy as well. And we need to understand the reason why we in Trinidad are mixed people. You understand? We have our culture is just a mixed culture, and there's so much strength from that. You understand? But where we find that unity in our strength. You understand? Where we mix and match and borrow. You understand? And do it on the we need to do it on a deeper level. You understand? A level of common humanity.
And
You understand?
embracing each other's culture.
And embracing each other's culture. Not necessarily adopt what we want to adopt.
Yes,
You
take what you
understand?
want. Yes.
Take what you want. You understand? And find the elements of brotherhood, find the elements of
Unity.
unity, you know, and thrive in those places. You understand? And let's work towards creating greater equity in our society. And we're looking at that right now, because right now we're having an experience of we need equity. Look at the situation with the laptops. This is not a black thing. This is not an Indian thing. This is not a
Party thing.
Christian Muslim it's no. This is for the competitiveness of our nation.
Yes,
Because this
of
is
our
where
people.
the world is. And every kid, I believe, right now needs a device.
Everyone.
It should just be something that we do. If you want to criticize it, shut up. And there's other words I could add to the shut up there as well too.
And next show.
You understand? But let us get our kids educated. Let's get our kids educated. And this is not a political issue anymore. This is a competitive issue. And getting the light bulbs turned on, because Mama Coco, here's what. Only about 45% of the world is online.
Only.
And people are waiting for the rest of Africa to come online. So the explosion that this thing is gonna go, the marketplace is gonna be ripe with talent.
Yes.
And now is the time to be competitive. So we have a moral obligation. I don't care who party in power or anything, to get devices in front of every kid. Get every teacher up to the level and of learning, not even teaching anymore, learning. And we need to now become a knowledge-driven learning society. Knowledge-driven and a learning society. That's the direction that we need to go in.
Yes, because teachers could teach what they learned before, but the time change right now. They have to start to learn afresh.
Exactly. You have to be.
Yes, in addition to what they knew before. Because what they knew before, they were teaching in the classroom. Now you are teaching online. And if a teacher not ready online, and if the country, if the area not ready with the Wi-Fi,
everything, the infrastructure has to be there.
The teachers work
this is a hit or miss. It's gonna be a hit or miss. You understand? So we need to look at it on that dimension as well. But let's move on with our slides. Do you have social citizenship? So this is citizenship in the digital dimension. Okay, so are you on Facebook? We're right here now on Facebook having a live.
Yeah.
Okay, Instagram, definitely connected to Facebook. YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm not on Snapchat yet. I've never used Snapchat. I think I'm aged out of Snapchat. It's not my platform. But kids are on so many other platforms right now. And Trinidad and Tobago, we are on Facebook.
The beauty with the kids on everything, some of them parents not on anything. So
some of them are not on anything.
So we have a chaotic situation about to start where parents who always believe me not like that Facebook, Facebook so and so, but your little kid 9 years old, you give them a phone and them on Facebook. So they are in control of whatever language they want you, the mother, to learn. So and they could slip in and slip out.
You're hitting the nail on the hammer. It's the nail on the hammer. I always say that thing wrong. Okay, but you're ponging good, because here's what. we're gonna be talking about etiquette next. You see, because you see, oh, Facebook, Mako, you coming on Facebook to Mako.
That's right.
You understand? People coming on Facebook
look
and
what you and
selling.
I and the look what you and me and the audience doing right now. This number
There is a entrepreneur girl from Charlotteville. She live up in Charlotteville, up on the top in Camberton there. And she uses Facebook effectively. You understand? She's taking her skills and she's selling it and marketing herself on Facebook. And we're going to get to that dimension shortly. Stop McCoying. Stop going in courthouse and minding people business. Stop going in Facebook and minding people business. Stop being in a WhatsApp chat and minding people business as well too. And be on these platforms to learn. Good night, Tara. Tara, I'm seeing you. Good night, Miss Clark. Principal Clark. This is my friend. She's a principal up in Oswego.
Hi, Principal.
I'm seeing her on the live. She's an assistant principal in a school, but I think in the next 2 to 3 years, she's probably going to be a principal in a school. Life. But we need to use these tools in a correct way. And we're on all of these different platforms. Okay, on my LinkedIn, I'm not gonna put on be dressed bareback. I'll put that on my Instagram. You understand? My Instagram is for me to be a little bit fun and so on.
LinkedIn is professional.
LinkedIn is professional.
Professional, yes.
You understand? Facebook is to my friends and my family, okay, to sometimes let you a little bit into my head, how I'm feeling, and so on. But we all have citizenship in these spaces. We all belong to these communities. You understand? Like one of my favorite communities on Facebook is the Trinidadian community. I love that group.
What is that posted
the food group from Trinidad. You know, I think they're in it too.
Yes, the food net. Yes, you know that the food, true Trini food and recipes.
There's a theme. Yes, there's a theme, and we posted. Oh gosh, sometimes the red mango, and then oh gosh, it is like make your mouth water. No, seriously, because it doesn't want to get up and it doesn't want to get so that's a learning community. You understand? It's a little learning community about cooking, and sometimes people bring in different mixes of food, and our cooking is so really diverse and everything like that. And this girl from up in Camberton, she makes this pizza, and I wish I could get that pizza delivered to me here. You know, because it's such a good pizza. You understand? And that's how I know. That's how I know about it. And she makes koma and punches, and she uses Facebook in a very good way.
Her business. So, what do you want to say to any young person like 38, 40, 45, 50, even 60 plus, saying me on Facebook now, but your children is on Facebook?
So, if you don't want to learn the platform, if you don't want to learn the platform, that's you, because it comes down to a matter of choice. But this is how you stay informed. Mama Coco, I don't turn my television on until like 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. And just to put it on sleep for me to fall asleep. You understand? Because I don't want all of that filtering thing into my head. You know, and over the last 3 weeks, my face, as much I'm on Facebook, that's where to find me. You have people that say, oh, we never know where you is. You could reach me if you know where I'm. Stop being disingenuous and deceitful. You know where to reach me. You understand? Because I'm on Facebook, because that's where I reach people. Don't call my phone, but call me on Messenger. I'll answer you there. You understand? But we are there, and we need to learn how to use that space properly.
Citizens of your space, man. I love that. I love this, Keino. Keino, we had 1 hour 17 minutes.
Yes, and we're getting there.
Yes, and we're gonna slides to run.
Yes. So quickly, we're gonna go through the civics of the digital dimension.
Oops.
And we're gonna connect the 4 themes. Remember what the themes were? Pegs. Remember what pegs were? Political, economic, geography, and social. So now these 4 digital dimensions. We're going to connect the 4 themes to the 4 digital dimensions. So one is digital borderlessness and boundaries. Okay, so the question is, where are the borders? Okay, that's the question. Think about it. And the answer is, there are none. But countries can determine content citizens are exposed to. Okay, so in China, for example, China filters a lot of their internet because China wants to control their population as well. Okay, other countries pretty much determine how much content they're gonna let in, how much content they're gonna let out. They're gonna be their firewalls. Okay, so in the physical dimension, we have borders, we have walls that we can build, that we can politic on. Okay, but on Facebook, instantly I can reach somebody in Tobago. Instantly I can reach somebody in Trinidad. Instantly I can get information from here to another part of the world.
Send money, send money.
Send money as well, instantly. Okay, so it's the whole idea of where do national borders begin and end? You understand? And now we're dealing with a virus that doesn't even respect national boundaries.
Cut off everybody at a certain level. Cut yours.
You know, but then
level.
even how it gets in. You understand? So do you understand the reason for a quarantine? Stay put, lock down. You understand? 40 days quarantine, Latin 40 days, no movements. So movement limited, mask and everything like that. The world faced pandemics before, but viruses don't respect national and sovereign boundaries. You understand?
Everybody's a citizen.
400 years ago,
it's a citizen everywhere.
Yes, exactly. Everyone is a citizen everywhere, and that space is now social. So there are no more borders. So then, who are the leaders? You understand? So we create communities. You know, I think Mark Zuckerberg did a wonderful job creating Facebook. I love Facebook. Okay, and it's a great platform. So he's a tech leader. Look at this kid was in his dorm room at 18, 19 years old. And look at the influence that he has on the world. And all he wanted to do was to connect the world.
Did he start Facebook or some two other guys?
He and two other people. You know, there's a movie, a little controversy, but it's him. They started it together. But the whole idea was connecting. They wanted to connect with each other. I remember when I went to college, instant messenger was a big thing. My friends was living 2 doors next door, and we used to be IMing each other all the time. In our rooms, and everybody IMing each other.
You got messages.
You've got mail.
You got mail.
You got mail. You understand? So in this tech space, so you have people like Bill Gates who created Microsoft. You know, I was fortunate to work for Microsoft for almost with Microsoft as a consultant for 2 years. So when you're talking edtech, I know my edtech stuff. This is the territory that
I work with one of the guys who opened IBM. Yeah, hospice care as a caregiver. I worked with him there in Scarsdale, New York. Upstate.
Okay. Yep. And then other tech leaders, you understand, in all different spaces. And the thing is, tech is just not limited to tech. Tech is everywhere. Tech is just not tech. Tech is everywhere. So I work in ed tech, but there's fintech, there's healthcare tech, there's in all different sorts of tech, because everything is now in the digital dimension. So we need to get more tech engaged. Our schools and curriculum needs to be more STEM focused. We need to promote more things, science, technology, engineering, and math.
When you say we, you mean Trinidad and Tobago, define?
Yes, and all over, because these are the skills that the job market of the future. So the corporate office, people are now seeing that the corporate office it's not needed anymore.
You're working from home.
You understand? And the studies are finding that people are more productive at home. You understand? Some studies have documented increase in workforce productivity at home, because when you're at home, yeah, you might run into the kitchen or something like that. Some parents
Yeah.
now have homeschools going on, and that's the blessing of children right now. But they say productivity level increases at home because you're not at the water cooler talking about your coworkers. You're not there. I worked in schools and sharing, 80% women. So, it's pictures of their children and their grandchildren. And I'm like, what? That's nice. But I'm here to educate other people's children. I'm glad your family is doing well, but I'm happy for you. But let's let,
I'm
let's
I'm here to
let's
work.
focus on the mission. Let's focus on the mission. And for me, the mission is educating other people's children. And I say that from the fact that when I was in standard 5, my mother taught me. You
Mm.
understand? And I saw her educate other people's children. And I'm speaking to teachers right now. Okay, I know a lot is going on, and a lot of the work that I do with teachers is very therapeutic, especially around technology. You know, very therapeutic to just help them embrace the technology, for them to make
Yeah.
it fun. You understand? That's a lot of the work that I do around New York City public school teachers. You understand? And there are 80,000 of them. So imagine
Mm.
everybody in Tobago as a teacher, plus 20,000 more people working. That's the school district that I work with and consult in. 80,000 teachers. You
Ooh,
understand?
awesome,
And I mean, I don't
awesome.
touch 80,000, but that's the scale of the system.
Yes,
You
yes.
understand? That's the scale of the system. So, for
System.
example, in terms of Tobago, you need 21 Tobagos to equal the population size in Trinidad. 21 Tobagos. So imagine trying to run a system where there are
Yes.
80,000 teachers,
People,
everybody living on
teachers
the island is
involved.
a teacher. You understand?
Yay.
So that's the system, and it's
Yes.
complicated. And I know teachers are going through a lot of challenges right now, but teachers can do anything. I really believe in teachers, and I judge teachers on the fact that if I'm gonna allow my child to be in your classroom because you're gonna allow your child to be in the classroom, because my mother taught me and was in the classroom, and I know she wasn't helping me when I go home after school, because she was giving her best during the
Yes.
day.
During school. Yes.
She was
Amen.
giving her best during the school day. So when you're teaching other people's children, you're shepherding their lives. You
Hey.
understand? And you because it's mindset you're
Yes.
dealing with, and you wanna be as gentle and as compassionate, strict and firm, loving, and sometimes know when to give a good buff up, but speaking the truth in love and all of these things when you're teaching in the classroom. And I had to learn how to become that gentle educator, that I'm no nonsense, but I can have fun with it, and make it learning, and make it feel like, and make it feel respected, and things like
Yes.
that, and not
Yes.
even want to be in control of what children do. Okay, so we have leaders in all our different spaces and all the different communities that we create on in the social space. And then the boundaries. Okay, what are the boundaries? How far do we go? You understand? Like, for example, the other day, with this whole online learning, a lot of parents now are right there next to their computers. And we know in our houses when we are at home how we dress, we're in the privacy of our own homes, but now we're letting a lot of people into the privacy of our lives. You understand? So you can't be in front of the screen with the nightie on, and that's for home. You
Hey.
understand? And everything like that, and a picture was shared, and because of etiquette, let's go into that etiquette. Okay, etiquette simply means acting appropriately for the situation. Okay, when online, it's important to follow these guidelines. Treat people with respect and courtesy. So don't screenshot it and go and share it in the WhatsApp chat to go viral. No, 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 no. Get a product and let the product go viral and let people pay you via PayPal. Let
Hey.
that go viral. Instead. Okay? Don't act differently in the virtual world than you would in real life. You know? Don't intentionally harm someone. Don't hack. You understand? There's some ethical hackers as well. Okay? Because I do a lot of coding. Okay, and I'm not on that level of coding. My coding is more about data and understanding it. But we hackers, there's something called ethical hacking. Okay, because in order to secure a system, you have to know how to break into it. Okay, so there's hacking from that dimension, but that could be for another time. Don't post pictures with anyone without anyone's permission.
Yes.
You understand? You know, don't post in, you know, and there was this picture circulating, you know, and humiliating, I'm sure, this mother who was just there, or grandmother, just there trying to help the kid. And we're going to take it and laugh out of it because that's our culture. Just laughing out of it and laughing out of serious matters. And then okay when we come and get buff up from the leaders and things like that. You understand? And then, you know, earlier it was things like don't download music or movies illegally. You know, pay for people's work. Yeah, I mean, we go and listen to things on YouTube. People post their things and so on. But I remember when I just started off in college, there was this thing called Napster. And this is how all the whole social media evolved with file sharing and everything like that. But we can share information now, but we have to be mindful of copyrights and people's intellectual property and so on. And then don't yell. Talking in caps is yelling. You understand? Talking in caps is yelling. So that's on the ethical dimension. And the ethical dimension is more for social thing, how we behave.
So you're kind of talking to me then, because I like to write in caps. I like to write my prayer in caps. So maybe I'm shouting the prayer.
Yeah, but you're shouting unto the Lord.
Oh, okay.
We're making a permission for that. You're shouting to the Lord because your prayers is not for man. Your prayers is unto the Most High God. So you could yell. You shout unto the Lord. So praying, and people establish their rules. Praying can be in caps, okay, because it's a shout unto the Lord. Okay?
Oh, okay. So you saved me there. So I guess saved by the bell.
Yes, so rumors, you know, we like it. Rumors, gossiping, you know, and these thing down by the bay lineman and McCoy and Pa, you say she should just show her belly day. That is that. You understand?
You must wow.
That is what this thing, harassment, name calling.
So you have that as cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. That's what it is. Okay. You understand? Cyberbullying. You know? Okay, so let's move on. We're getting to the digital literacy and learning.
So you want to tell me that if you're a teacher and you're teaching online, you should dress as if you're going to school?
You should dress appropriately. You should dress professionally. You know, put on a decent shirt, you know. You could wear short pants because you're not standing up like this to teach or anything like that, but dress decently. You understand? And I think it's okay for kids to maybe wear a games uniform or something like that. And there are some schools, like here in New York City, I was reading an article the other day, there are some schools who take this to an extreme level, where kids have to be sitting down with their hands clasped and so on. And that's a whole nother thing that's a whole nother thing where we could talk about charter schools and so on, because I've had my interaction with those, but that's another kind of thing like that there. But yes, dress appropriately for the digital space as well.
So Keino, where do you emphasize when it comes to schools in Trinidad and Tobago? What you want to emphasize on the properties of the school, what they do, how teachers perform, what the government is doing, how can they help more with the children and stuff? Because to me, a lot of kids would be left behind because the school started and they still don't have any means of getting online.
Yes, and this is very unfortunate And I hope that this plea is passionate enough that this is not a matter of being political. This is not a matter of being PNM. This is not a matter of being UNC. This is not a matter of being PDP. This is for the competitiveness of your child, future, and our collective futures. So I'm going to address that in a few dimensions. One, there's the dimension of policy. Okay, let's give every kid a laptop computer. You understand? Simple. Okay, but then there's also that on the methods and the pedagogy of it. Okay, and this
break down pedagogy.
Okay. Right. So methods and pedagogy, if you're looking at this slide, this is the digital literacy that's needed for it and the methods that we use to now teach this way. Okay, and learn this way. If you understand where I'm coming from there. And these are literacy skills. Okay, and it's on so many different dimensions. So as new technologies emerge, learners need to learn how to use that technology quickly and appropriately. Okay, so on the policy and the pedagogical and the methods level, we need training for teachers. So we need to ramp our teachers need to be trained on these platforms as well. On a policy level, we need to make sure that the infrastructure is in place for these platforms so that we can get it done. Digital citizenship involves educating people in a new way. Okay, you're not in a classroom anymore. So when them trend talking in the classroom, you can't just give them an eye and watch them and they know to straighten up. You understand? You're behind a screen. You understand? So we need to now know the skills to that is very, very different. And that is not being on Zoom for 7 hours a day or being on Zoom for 0 hours a day. Because then you do that sometimes on a live, and then there are times when you set up for independent work. But you can't give my one of my little niece work like that if you're not engaging her. And these are the elements that you need to engage her on right over here. Her creativity. You know, look at, I think Tobago, we're so creative. You know, our arts and our culture, that needs to be embedded into our digital learning and our literacy. Okay, we need to look, we're looking at this from a level of critical thinking and evaluation. Okay, what we're now able to talk about, the conversations that we're able to have. Now that we're in this digital landscape, we have more access to information. And now, oh God, I hear this and I hear that. Remember, we come from a hearsay culture. You understand? Because, and even remember, and not for anything, I don't want to say, oh, the Mako, but the village Mako was a form of media. Okay, yes. Because that's how news went on. But we need to know how to use this media in good and real ways that really aware our cultural and our social understanding. Okay, I know why we're a very active country on Facebook. Very, very active. Our Trinidad and Tobago is a very active social media country. That's where everything happens. Because think about our country. We like Carnival. Everybody wants to be on the stage. We don't have celebrities. We have personalities in our culture. We don't have a celebrity culture. Everyone is a personality in whatever way they want their talent to come out. So this needs to be ingrained into the landscape of digital literacy and learning that really thrives off of our cultural and social understanding, that allows us to collaborate with each other, that allows us to create and build. And if we don't create and build, what's going to happen? We're just going to be consuming these technologies. We need to start creating these technologies, and we do that by learning together collaboratively. And I have a secret for you, and I'm going to give you the secret about learning after. I'm going to give you the secret about learning after. But collaboration is key there. You know, the ability to find and select information, because we're bombarded by information. So there are people who just need to sift good content. No, this is BS. Okay, this is better content. and content is being created every day. So how we taught back in 1962, we can't teach that way there. And if you're telling my child that cows are jumping over moons now, and that kid have iPads in their hands, we need to reflect on our educational philosophy and update it to our current times.
Because this is what I was going to say just before you came in with that answer, is that instead of rushing an election, we should have workshops for teachers during that time, because the whole curriculum should have been redone.
Well, you see, the thing is, a health crisis should never be politicized, but that's what politicians do. Okay, and if we look at the data, the numbers, we saw what's happening with the rise of COVID. Okay, and that time wasn't used effectively to prepare and upskill our teachers, our level up. So now there's a scramble. You know, there's a scramble. And I mean, the Minister of Education, I think she's 10,000 improvement on Mr. Anthony Garcia that was there before. No disrespect to him, but no 70-year-old, I'm sorry. No 70-year-old should be Minister of Education in no country. Because you know what? At 70 years old, you don't have a vision for 50 years down the road. You understand? Because 70 plus, I'm not so good in maths, but 70 plus 50 is about 120. You're not living to 120. Okay? You're not going to live to 120. Therefore, you shouldn't be no Minister of Education. So I think that the choice in the Minister of Education was a good choice.
Yeah, it's a good move, but
it's a better choice, but it should not be window dressing.
Yeah, it shouldn't be window dressing.
It should not be window dressing. And the Minister of Education, I so far from what I'm seeing, I think she's on it. I think she's a mom that's bringing this thing to it. I mean, she has a PhD in chemistry, and women who doing science like that, I respect women who have that mind to have a PhD in chemistry. But Dolly, don't turn this into a dolly house.
Oh boy. That's right. You have to leave politics out of your performance. You can't let people telling you what to do and you know what they're telling to do for you to do will not work. It's the same thing I was saying to Brother Gary Griffith. You understand me? Don't make them use it. Them can't bring you in to solve a crime while you just protecting the law on their behalf. If you come here to solve crime, you have to start to work on Parliament, because all the country resources was lost through that avenue.
Yeah, we need to that element of corruption.
Yes, and what I was saying,
because of the lack of civics.
With the police, you can't come and telling us how to prepare and defend ourselves from police when is the police coming still. How can we show is a real police? A badge? Anybody in America, real badges they show.
Yeah, and the thing too, and you see, and even all over, one of the things too, because you see, policing, we're gonna have to do a whole other show on policing.
Another citizen,
I don't want to get started with policing, because policing comes from the experience of slavery. And people, when you are police, you can think you're on ranking thing and so on. And then I remember one of the policemen. Police, we're going to talk about policing, but my grandfather had a very good policeman friend called Dixon. You know, he passed away at a very young age, but he was a SRP back in Charlotteville. Well, he was my grandfather's personal friend. I remember him coming to the house and he'd have his gun there and things like that. And then he and Granddad would go see. And you know, they're men, of course they're cuss bad one. And then Bruiser would say, you wait till I reach back on land and I will lock you up when I reach back on land, to sort of jabber with each other in that way. But policing, the level of policing, our police officers need to be very skilled in the law. And what they're charging. This charge and charge, I understand. Innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, you can charge somebody, but allow a person their day in court.
To defend
Allow
themselves.
a person their day in court. Allow a person their day in court.
Your
You
brother
understand?
just said
But
something
our police officers need to be, what do you call it? And it shouldn't be a ranking thing. You know, it shouldn't be a ranking thing. You know, it shouldn't be a ranking thing.
Walter saying something to you.
That's my good uncle, Walter.
Oh, that's your uncle. Yeah, I nearly say your brother.
Yeah,
Uncle.
That's my uncle. That wears mine sheep and goat and thing. With I like to do that kind of stuff there. I would, you know, if I wasn't a social studies teacher, I'd be an agricultural science teacher. That's the other kind of thing to do. And I would just grow in tomatoes and pepper.